And welcome again. And on behalf of Rian or Rika and Technology, I welcome you all for today's webinar, which is Chinaventure and Chinese language and beyond. So we are going to touch upon specifically the Chinese language industry. Uh, going to throw some light around certain trends, insights, and what you can do with your careers around this Chinese language industry. To introduce our speakers for today, so we have Anuprita Lele and Shivani Oak, who are both exceptional Chinese linguists, and they have had their own share of success in the industry by virtue of knowing the language and using it in the right places. So as we continue, we will have this session, and towards the end of the session, we will have about 10-15 minutes of question answers. So as we go along, please do jot down any queries or questions that you may come across, and my team will be happy to answer them as we go. So without further ado, I think I will hand it over to Shivani and Anuprita, and stay tuned for this webinar. Yes, Shivani, you can start.
All right. So, first of all, a very good morning to all of you. Thank you so much for being here. I know it's a Saturday, but we really appreciate your presence here. So, today we are here to talk about China and its language and what opportunities this language can provide you and what doors it can open for you. Uh, for today's presentation, Anuprita and I will be talking about why Chinese language is important. We will talk about why China is important and how Chinese language skills make you a crucial part in any company's functioning that deals with China, and how this skill would make you stand out from the rest of the crowd. We will go into the basics of the Chinese language itself. We will talk about what the language entails. We will explain you the three main components of the language. And whenever you decide to study the language or learn the language, which I hope you will definitely learn the three components which make up the Chinese language. Further, we will also touch upon the demand for Chinese language today. We will talk about we will go through a few points which will explain to you why Chinese language skills are required in today's industries. We will also go through the opportunities that learning this language can provide you. And as teachers, we have also found some trends that Chinese learners follow these days to learn the language better. And we will also touch upon the trends that Chinese learners have been following. In addition to all this, we will also talk about the impact of AI in the language industry. I'm sure you have heard all the discussions going on about the advent of AI and what it means for the future of the language industry. So we will also touch upon that a bit. And at the end of the presentation, we will give you a sneak peek into what we do in Rian as a language technology company. So going ahead with the presentation. Uh, you will see a picture on your screen now. Yeah, okay. So do you recognize this place in the picture? I'm sure you do, but let me know in the comments with a yes, no, or a maybe. I'll wait. Okay, great. So I'm sure most of you know what this place is, right? You've seen tons of pictures of it, you've heard a lot about it, and yes, this is the Great Wall of China, right? The one of the seven wonders of the world. When we think about China, this is the first thing that comes to our mind, the Great Wall. But we are here today to tell you that China is a lot more than what we know or what we are exposed to. So, what is China really? So, to begin with, China is the second most populous country in the world. Its population exceeds 1.4 billion people. That's a lot of people. China is a country which has the third largest land area. That's a big country with a lot of people, right? So in addition to this, China has one of the oldest civilizations. These civilizations date back up to 3000 BC or even before that. China also has a long and deep-rooted history, which you can still see influences in the way China or Chinese people function today. And one thing is for sure that Chinese people are extremely proud of their history and they wear it like a badge. Along with this, China has a rich and vibrant culture. If you ever happen to go to China, I'm sure you will be exposed to the culture of the country. What you will find is Chinese culture is a very interesting and unique culture. When I'm talking about culture, I'm talking about Chinese dressing, Chinese way of life, Chinese exotic food that we hear a lot about, and of course, the one drink that we have China to thank for, which is tea, right? Along with this, China has delicious food. You can see pictures of two food items on the slide in front of you. The one on the left is a picture of dumplings, which are called yaozi or baozi in Chinese. And the second picture is of Chinese noodles, which these noodles are tantan mian. So, as someone who's been to China, I can assure you that Chinese food is absolutely delicious. Irrespective of you being a vegetarian, a non-vegetarian, a vegan, or even an vegetarian, Chinese food will always fill your appetite. Uh, China also has breathtaking topography. I mean, anywhere you go in China, you will see that the country is endowed and blessed with natural beauty. And great weather, of course, is a cherry on the top. China also has quaint villages where, if you go to these villages, you are exposed to Chinese rural life, which is also an interesting way of life if you go there. And along with this, China also has booming mega cities, which provide an array of opportunities for people of all kinds. So basically, China is a huge country with a lot to offer. But the only thing that keeps the world from exploring China, Chinese people, Chinese culture, Chinese food, or anything else related to China is one little barrier, which is the language. So, in addition to all this, you might be wondering, why should I learn Chinese? What makes it special? So, the language of China, which is officially called Mandarin, has over 1.3 billion native speakers. That's a lot of people. So, this easily makes Chinese the most spoken language in the world, correct? Along with this, China has also made huge and rapid progress across all fronts and in all sectors, which has led to China becoming the second largest economy in the world today. China is the world's largest exporter and the second largest importer. With its progress on the economic front, China is also emerging as a very strong player in the global political arena. And when I'm talking about strong player, I'm talking about soft power as well as hard power. With all of this progress that China has made, it has made a place for itself. It has earned a place for itself in global politics today. It has improved its geostrategic importance and it has proved itself to be a valuable and irreplaceable part of geopolitics. Uh, Along with all this, uh, the language industry, of course, due to the huge market and the booming economy, definitely the Chinese language industry becomes an area of tremendous opportunities, right? And as I also mentioned in the previous slide, learning the language gives you or provides you a gateway to the culture of the country, and it eliminates the barrier between China and the rest of the world. But we've been talking about this language. What is this language exactly? What does it entail? Let's take a look at that. So Chinese, or as it's officially called, Mandarin, is the official language of China. So Chinese basically has three components. But before that, I'm sure you have heard that Chinese is a difficult language or the hardest language to learn, right? But we are here to tell you that that is not necessarily true. If you work hard, if you pay attention to the language, you will find that Chinese is a very logical language. It has a logical flow, a logical structure. And in addition to that, it has few and uncomplicated tenses, which sets it apart from other languages. So Chinese basically has three main components: characters, pinyin, and tones. So whenever you think of Chinese, you think of written Chinese, which you cannot understand, right? So if you look on the slide under point one, written under characters, you'll see written Chinese, right? So let me tell you that Chinese does not have letters. It does not have an alphabet. You cannot make spellings in Chinese. So Chinese being a pictorial script, you write in blocks. One block represents one word. So on your slide, what you see, it's one block and it is one word. This block is called Chinese characters or Hanzi in Chinese. So when Chinese people write or when you go to China, you will see this characters written everywhere, right? If you look at the second point written under pinyin is the word HAO, how, right? This is the same word that was written under point one as a character. But you were able to read this, right? Why? Because it is written using a language that you are already familiar with. It is written using letters from English, right? So this script where you use letters of English to write Chinese is called pinyin. Pinyin is nothing but the romanized version of Chinese. Why was this made? So as you saw, characters are difficult to read, right? If you don't know Chinese, you cannot read them. But for ease of learning of especially non-native speakers, pinyin was introduced by the government of China. The third and very important part of the language is tones. So Chinese is a tonal language. I'm sure you have heard that, and that is 100% true. So Chinese has 5 tones, and each tone has a corresponding tone mark, which is placed above the vowel. So if you see under point 3 on your screen, under tones, you will see the letter A with a mark above it. That is the tone mark. So why are tones important in Chinese? Because a change in tone means a changing meaning, right? So if I say the same word, which is pronounced the same way, written the same way, but I say it in a different tone, its meaning changes accordingly. Let's take an example. Let's take an example of the word ma, M-A. If I say the word ma in the first tone, which is the flat tone, ma, it means mother. If I say ma in the second tone, which is the rising tone, ma, it is the name of a crop. If I say ma in the third tone, which is ma, it means horse. If I say ma in the fourth tone, ma, it means to scold. And if I say ma in the fifth tone, which is a neutral tone and has no tone mark, ma, it is an interrogative particle. So you see how the meaning of the word changes along with the tone, right? So these three components make Chinese a very interesting and unique language to learn. If you have this skill, you are definitely doing something different from the rest of the group. And I can assure you, learning characters will keep your brain active and young. All right. Moving on to the next slide. Let us now see what the demand for Chinese language is today. So, as you already know, China is a growing economy, right? China is a part of international organizations like the World Trade Organization. China is the world's largest trading partner. And according to a website in 2022, China's total international trade valued up to 6.3 trillion US dollars, which is a huge amount, right? So, along with this, due to its booming manufacturing sector or its amazing infrastructure and its booming science and technology sector, the Chinese economy is a very vital part of today's international market, right? So, a growing economy indicates growing opportunities. So, Chinese learners therefore have ample scope in various sectors. The second part is trade, investments, and partnerships. Since the economic reforms in China, China has become a huge arena for trade, export, import, investments, partnerships. especially due to its massive manufacturing sector. Uh, China has booming trade with the rest of the world and especially with India as well. I mean, if you look around us, 95% of the things that we use are made in China, right? In addition to this, foreign direct investment has been a very important part of the Chinese economy. China has been attracting investments from governments and private entities from all around the world. In recent years, China has become the largest recipient of foreign direct investment worldwide. In addition to this, as economic, political, cultural, educational partnerships are also booming, knowing Chinese definitely gives you an upper hand in this industry. The next part is expanding business relationships. It is very evident, especially in India, that irrespective of any other tensions between the two countries, business with China always prevails. Doesn't matter what is happening on the political front, social front, cultural front, be it any other front, business of India and China is always prevalent and it is always booming. So, this rapid expansion of India China bilateral trade since the beginning of this century has made China India's largest goods trading partner from 2008 till today. That's a long time, right? Also, from 2015 till 2022, India China bilateral trade has grown by 90.14%. That's a huge percentage. So, obviously, demand for Chinese language experts in this field is ever increasing and it's never going to stop because business is never stopping, right? The last but definitely not least point is less learners and more opportunities. As we saw in the previous slides, because of the misconception of Chinese being the most difficult language to learn, fewer people opt for learning Chinese when compared to other languages, which are easily available to learn in the market, right? But because of the booming trade, because of China's growing economy, because of the expanding business relationships, especially between India and China, as we just saw, opportunities are always there. And let me tell you, they're increasing all the time. So, because of there being less learners, but a lot of opportunities, if you have expertise in Chinese language, you definitely have great career prospects. So with this, I will stop my part and pass over the presentation to Anuprita to talk about opportunities and trends in the language industry and also the impact of AI in the language industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivani. That was really quite insightful. So now let us go ahead with a few takeaways. So we have enlisted 8 takeaways in terms of opportunities for Chinese experts in the language industry. Now beginning with localization industry. So to give you a basic definition, the localization industry consists of companies which provide translation and language solution services worldwide. So Rian is one of such company. So working here, one can get a very good exposure to language. Now, in terms of Chinese localization, there are two important factors to keep in mind. So the first one is the expert should be very well oriented with the Chinese language, along with a good knowledge of the Chinese characters. And additionally, I would say there should be some knowledge in terms of Chinese traditional characters. Secondly, I hope I am audible. Secondly, there should be some amount of cultural and political sensitivity when you translate anything related to Chinese language. Now, let us go to the second takeaway, that is business and trade. So, as Shivani previously explained to all of us, China, being the second largest economy by GDP, it continues to maintain investment and manufacturing as the main component of its economy. So, professional translators having a very firm grip of industry specific jargon are very much essential to ensure effective communication in the global manufacturing industry chain. So, accurate translations of technological information, user manuals, and product specifications are very much crucial for maintaining precision and consistency when you work in this industry. Third is technology and IT. So China is also proving to be a huge player in technological innovation. I hope you all are aware of that. So just like the Indian government in 2014 came up with Make in India initiative, in 2015, China rolled out Made in China 2025, a 10-year plan to update China's manufacturing base. And how are they going to do it? By developing 10 high-tech industries. So these mainly consists of electric cars, renewable energy vehicles, next generation IT and telecommunications, advanced robotics, and of course, AI. So these sectors are important in integrating big data, cloud computing, and other emerging technologies into the global manufacturing supply chain. Additionally, in the tech industries, as we all know, it constantly develops new products and services which rely on natural language processing, that is the NLP, speech recognition, text analysis, and machine learning. So, a linguist with sufficient programming knowledge can work with software brands, blue chip companies, and many other institutions in the tech area. Now, the fourth takeaway is media and journalism. So, I would say it is very unique to Chinese because Chinese offers an opportunity for the experts to study geopolitical issues pertaining to China. So, recently, as we all know, that China studies is an emerging field. A lot of think tanks, media houses, expert groups have gained momentum who primarily focus on studying political issues, China's policies, and its overall role in the global arena. The next takeaway, that is teaching. So Shivani and I have been very much active in this industry. We have been teaching Chinese and we have been instructors for level 1 and level 2. So if you gain a proficiency till HSK 4, you can definitely enter into the teaching industry. Next is tourism and hospitality. Interesting, isn't it? So let's see why it is so. So in pre-COVID times, China was one of the highest source of international travelers with around 155 million Chinese tourists in the year 2019. Of course, it has seen a dip post the pandemic, but it is estimated that in the coming few years, the figures are set to return or they might even increase. So for the experts who wish to enter this industry, I think it could be a great start. You would start by interpreting for the Chinese tourists, and definitely it would open a very good field for learning as well. Next takeaway is financial institutions and banking. So this industry's dependence on language service doesn't just stop at document translations, but it also extends to real-time interpretation. So along with having a very good command over the language, an expert who is well versed with the financial terms and the overall financial jargon can definitely get a very good role in this industry. And the last and the eighth takeaway is government institutions. So embassies around the world provide this unique opportunity for the Chinese, I wouldn't say just Chinese experts, but also for all the other languages as well. So they give an opportunity to translate, interpret, engage into diplomatic engagements, and also give consular services in the language. Along with that, a very peculiar thing for India is from the past 2 to 3 years, the Indian Army is rolling out posts for Chinese experts because they require such experts during the cross-border negotiations, which happens with the Chinese Army. So interesting, isn't it? But often I get this question, and I think it must be in your mind also, isn't it? Will AI impact the industry? What do you think? Please let me know in the comment box. Write yes if you think it can impact. Write no if you think it cannot. Okay, let's start with this example from the horse's mouth. So you all know the meaning, right? The meaning of this is coming from a reliable source. So when I put it into a widely used translation engine, what did I get? 从马嘴里说出来. So it has literally translated the phrase from the horse's mouth. So it isn't right, isn't it? So although AI has, we have seen a tremendous evolution in artificial intelligence in terms of language industry, but still there are many areas where human intervention or human touch is required. We need that emotional quotient, cultural context to come when we translate any document, when we interpret a native's whatever the native is speaking, or even during the document translations pertaining to any company. So this is the reason why AI won't really impact drastically this industry. Definitely, we have a huge scope in terms of human intervention. Now let's go to the trends part. So after doing a research concerning the current trends in learning the language and getting exposure to the language, we came up with the following hot trends. So the first one is artificial intelligence, of course. So artificial intelligence or the AI has a significant number of language learners wherein they utilize AI-powered language tools such as TalkPal, Duolingo, Babbel, and many more. I hope you've used one. So using these tools, what they are doing is they are getting a basic learning of the language. So it helps to improve the overall skill and can help you get some proficiency and of course some fluency at the basic level also. Second hot trend that we found is online learning. So post the pandemic or even during the pandemic, we have seen a huge spur in online learning. So native as well as non-native speakers around the world are conducting language courses. So they are even HSK, which is the standardized Chinese courses, HSK, HSKK, Business Chinese. So language enthusiasts who wish to learn Chinese have started opting for online learning on a huge scale. Next in line is educational courses. So along with the emerging field of China studies, which focuses on academic research, there is also a scope for degree courses in Chinese language. So the universities worldwide are offering bachelor's, master's, and even PhD for scholars who wish to have degree courses in the Chinese language. So just to give you an example, in India, JNU, KJ Somaya, Ashoka University are few of the universities which offer educational courses in Chinese language. So we are seeing a trend wherein students are opting for such courses in order to learn the language. Next in line is media. So through exposure towards Chinese media, and here I'm focusing on the entertainment industry. So we've heard a lot about the Korean entertainment industry, right? There are web series, there are songs, but even the Chinese entertainment industry is emerging. So there are many students who, because of watching such web series, Chinese movies, of course, I hope you all know Jackie Chan. So they tend to develop interest in Chinese language and they come to study Chinese. So it's really a way to connect culturally as well. The next trend is cultural exchange. So by cultural exchange, we literally mean exchange between foreign people and the natives. So in this sense, in the recent years, China has been conducting several cultural exchanges. So the Chinese government has so far had cultural agreements with 143 countries and signed up for 700 such annual cultural exchanges. So to name a few, one is EduPal China, which has a huge response, and one which I am personally aware of, and I know many Indian linguists who opt for is Chinhua Homestay Project. So telling you all a bit about Chinhua. So it is a 3-week project in which the foreign participants can live in villages of Chinhua. So in this, the participants get to experience the authentic Chinese culture, and they also get to stay in traditional Chinese homes. So also one important thing here is the cost incurred during this project is completely taken up by the government authorities of China. So these are the trends which we found out. Now, going to the next part is what would make you an expert. Let's see what would make you an expert. The first thing is proficiency till HSK 4 or HSK 5. You need that to enter into this industry. So the full form of HSK, that is Han Yu Shui Ping Kao Shi, that is standard Chinese exam. So it is a standardized test of proficiency designed for non-native Chinese learners. So it is administered by Hanpan, which is an agency of China's Ministry of Education. So second factor is keeping up with Langtech trends. Now, what do you mean by that? So, language technology, since its inception, I would say in 90s, has played a huge role in processing the human language, isn't it? So the same technology has evolved tremendously in the past few years. Giving you an example, along with the widely used Google Translate, DeepL, we also are currently seeing the AI-powered chatbot, that is the Chat GPT, gaining a huge momentum. So it's very, very important to keep up with these Langtech trends. So the next in line is learning the latest colloquials. So along with the formal courses, it is very important to keep up with the latest colloquials as well. So through web series, movies, newsletters, it can be a great means to learn these. Next is to learn about China, and which is one of my favorite, and which is the reason why I started learning Chinese. So along with the language, it's important to have a general understanding of the surrounding of the language and where it was born. So what made me to learn Chinese? I would just narrate a small, I won't say story, but a fact that I was fascinated by the fact that the Chinese language writing system has a very unique history. So it was called Chiakuan, that is the oracle bone script, which can be dated back to the Bronze Age. So the pictorial script that we see today, in a very different form, of course, was carved on tortoise shells or any other animal bone and was used in divination. So just see how much it has evolved. So from incorporating the characters in divination till we see the current form, that is the simplified Chinese. Hasn't it evolved a lot? And the last one, interaction with the native speakers. It's a very important point, I feel, because interaction with the native speakers can give you a good understanding of the flair of the overall language. So, if you have a good interaction with them, you can definitely pick on the nuances of the language. So you can even incorporate the AI powered tools. One of them, which I can just tell, is the Hello Talk app, on which you can really interact with the natives and sharpen your language, definitely. So the key takeaways of this presentation, let's quickly go through it. So the Chinese language provides a lot of opportunities. China is growing, and of course, the opportunities are also growing. Yes, the language is complex, but it is not really that complex, isn't it? So if you understand the way Shivani explained us, there are three components, it becomes simple. Third is the demand for language is significant. Fourth, there are 8 major takeaways in terms of opportunity. And of course, there is a trend in language enthusiasts who are learning Chinese. So we saw 5 trends. And of course, at last, we saw the ways of becoming an expert. I hope our presentation is of use to us and you all will go on a venture to learn Chinese. So I would just end my part by showing you a small video of Rian. So Rian is a multilingual company and is involved in language services. Let's get a sneak peek into what Rian is.
Language has the power to cross boundaries or even dissolve them. Organizations can relay their brand message across geographies if they choose to harness the power of languages. You need a partner, a language technology partner, a partner who understands your business and the message you want to communicate to the customers across boundaries. We, Rikayan Technology Private Limited, are a technology leader in the Lang Tech space and deliver solutions that custom fit your needs by using our proprietary platform, Rian. Our customers enjoy the benefits of our ability to leverage technology and create solutions that matter. With close to 175 plus global clients who harness the power of our own Rian platform that offers solutions in close to 60 global languages. We help our customers dissolve language barriers. We offer document translation and audio video localization, all through the same Rian platform.
So don't forget to visit the Rian page. You can see the website is written down there. And if you have any specific queries, you can reach out to sales@rian.io. Thank you. That's all on my part.
Thanks, Anuprita, and thanks, Shivani. I'm sure everybody must have enjoyed the entire interaction as much as I did. It was actually very informative. I just loved the part about the cultural influence of China. And so I would just like to open up the session for any queries, any questions that the audience may have. We have about 5, 6 minutes, and we can surely take up any questions pertaining to opportunities in the language industry, specifically around Chinese, or how maybe Rian could help you, and how we could work together. If you have questions around that, or anything specific as well, so feel free to shoot questions, and we'll be more than happy to take them up. So we have one question from Harshad, and uh, yeah, he says that I've studied HSK1 online for 6 months and hence asking this opinion are confusing. Beijing is actually pronounced in Chinese as Fishing, and she is pronounced as she. Okay. So any particular reason why it's not pronounced in the same way as English? Do you want to take that, Anuprita?
Yeah. So there's no particular reason, but that's how your pronunciation is. So just to simplify it for the non-native speakers, what they did is they assigned these sounds to every English alphabet. It is actually to make it easy for us. So it is not really that difficult. You just need to remember the sound. And I can see second question about the Hansa characters. How many of them do we need to learn? So around 3,000 to 4,000. You should know around 4,000 characters to enter as a professional in this industry. Um, do Chinese native school children also learn Pinyin? Of course, they have started teaching the Chinese kids also about the Pinyin, but the way of teaching is different. So this system is more for the non-native speakers.
If I
Thank you
may, I
for
would like to
yeah.
add something to what Anuprita already said. So again, with the same questions, with the question about opinion. So as Anuprita rightly said, they have so because there are certain sounds in Chinese that do not have corresponding letters in English, right? They have assigned the closest sounding English letters in pinyin. That is the reason a few spellings are different, the way we spell them in English and the way we spell them in Pinyin. But as long as you study the Pinyin initials and finals chart and you remember the pronunciations of the limited number of initials, you are good to go. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Shivani. And we have one more question from Diksha saying, do you have any online tuitions or anything that will help us improve more. So we as Rian offer localization or translation solutions, and we do not have tuitions or uh, coaching. But I think Anuprita or Shivani may be able to suggest something to you. You could send us an email or at sales@rian.io, and I will have it redirected to Anuprita or Shivani, and they could help you out. Yeah, Diksha. So there's one more from Krishna Arvind. The session was useful and thanks for sharing your experience. Is YouTube tutorials alone can YouTube tutorials alone sharpen your skills? What do you have to say about that, Anuprita?
Um, you can use it definitely, but initially you need some kind of formal teaching. So get well versed with that. And along with that, keep it as a helping hand. So use it along with learning the language. That's my advice to it.
That's a great point. And while you all are sending out your questions, let me also let you know that we are having a follow-up webinar where we will be taking a slightly more advanced look at how the language industry is really looking at Chinese and how Rian is able to harness the power of the Chinese language. So we are currently working with a lot of clients internationally and in India around the Chinese language, and we have opportunities and we are looking for people as well. So stay tuned for this webinar. We will be announcing the dates shortly. All of you will get personal information in an email, but do follow us the LinkedIn on LinkedIn. Do follow our page on LinkedIn, and also stay tuned through our website as well. You can register to on our website to get more information. Okay, I think we have just about time for one more question. If anybody is interested, if you think that you want to share your questions separately or directly, um,
Okay.
okay, there's a question from Diksha. Yeah.
The app, okay, you can install Hello Talk and specifically Hello Chinese. So you can use that for interacting with the native. Yeah.
Yes, we will be sharing the link. I think right now the link for registrations for the second part of the webinar is not active, but you all will get personal emails to your in your inbox. So stay tuned. Um, there is a question about how about Duolingo?
Okay, so I'll take this one, Anuprita. So, as Anuprita talked about the YouTube question, Duolingo is also an app that you can use as a helping hand as you are learning Chinese with a teacher, right? Because Duolingo will teach you the very basics of the language. But if you really want to improve your fluency in the language, you can use Duolingo as a helping tool. Instead of learning the entire language through the app, you can use it as something that you use along with your online learning or any other formal courses. Thank you.
All right. So I think we have just about okay. Last one. Where does Rian see itself in the next 5 years? Is it open for new collaborations, ground level innovation, etc.? Wow, that's a pretty elaborate question, and we can definitely vouch for the language industry. We are, of course, currently exploring collaborations, and we are seeing a lot of technological collaborations happening around the language industry as we are progressing. There has been rapid growth in the past few months, a few years, I would say. And if there is something specific that you would want to know, I would be more than happy to answer those questions offline. So yeah, surely. So I think with that, if you have any more queries, like I said, do send out your questions to sales@rian.io, and we would be more than happy to reach out to you individually if required and respond. Thank you for your participation. Thank you for making time on a Saturday morning and being a part of this webinar. And thank you to Anubrita and Shivani for the lovely session and the amazing interaction that information that you all have shared today. So with that, appreciate your presence and see you soon.